We're with Tina Mapes. Tina, you're running for City Committee Chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. Now, the way this is decided is in a mass meeting Saturday,
April 9th.
Saturday, April 9th, in Virginia Beach. Where is it?
Corporate Landing Middle School.
Corporate Landing Middle School. Now, let me tell you who is eligible. Anybody who's a registered voter in Virginia Beach. That's it. If you vote in Virginia Beach, doesn't matter what your party affiliation is or any of that stuff, you can go to
Corporate Landing Middle School
at
1597 Corporate Landing Parkway, right off Dam Neck.
Right, and it's on Saturday, right?
Saturday, April 9th. Registration check-in is 10:30 to 11:45. Doors will close promptly at 11:45, and the meeting kicks off at noon.
Meeting kicks off at noon, so probably be out of there by 2 p.m., right?
Yes, we're going to try to keep it to an hour or so.
Because you got to go through electing. Well, would you have to elect a temporary chairman, or would you just keep Longo?
There would be a temporary chairman. So they'll do some floor business before they actually get into casting the votes. Okay, now,
we had Clay Atkinson on our show last week. Very nice guy. I think his father's a treasurer. Been around for a long time. Why are you running for city committee chairman? I mean, what are you going to do that Ken Longo didn't do or Atkinson isn't going to do? Why Tina Mapes?
Well, I have a lot of leadership experience with the sheriff's office. My education background is in leadership. I've spent a lot of time working with the party as the precinct org chair, spent a number of hours working with volunteers to find volunteers to help candidates with their campaigns, man the polls on election day, a lot of grassroots work, a lot of work with Bill D. Steff's campaign. And so the more that I did with the party, the more I wanted to do. And so the voters, the candidates, our party is what motivated me to run for chairman.
Well, you have the enthusiastic, unequivocal endorsement of Senator D. Steff.
He's a big supporter. Supporter.
He's an FOJ. You know what an FOJ is? Friend of John.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
He's salt of the earth.
I spent a lot of time working on his campaign.
He's going to be a U.S. Senator one day. I think he's got a tremendous political future.
My grandson wants him to run for president.
Could happen, right?
Yeah. He thinks he can talk him into it. He's 8 years old, but he thinks he can talk Bill into running for president.
Well, he's a young guy with a tremendous amount of energy, so he's got a long road ahead of him. So, look, here's the wrap on you, which I've heard. Maybe you can address it with us, that, yeah, Tina Mapes is running so that Sheriff Stolle and the Stolles can basically control the beach.
Well, you're
True or false?
False. You're the first person that actually asked me that question, and I'm surprised I haven't had it before.
Well, they all want to ask it. I ask the tough questions. That's why I've got the biggest following in the state of Virginia. But thanks for noticing.
It's a valid question, and I will tell you that Sheriff Stolle is not the one who brought me into city committee, and he's not the one who talked me into running for chairman. As a matter of fact, he found out after I'd already made the decision to run that I had decided to run for chairman. He is supporting me. He's endorsing me, but he's not the one that encouraged me. Actually, I made the decision independent of anybody, really. Just, I came into city committee. I didn't want to just sit in the seat, so I got involved with precinct org. And then, like I said, the more that I did, the more that I wanted to do.
All right, so Republicans and Democrats, they have these mass meetings all over the state. They elect a city committee chairman. And I'm a city committee member of Chesapeake. Pete Berkheimer's had been my chairman. Now it's Carol T. Triquette. But what do you guys actually do?
Well, it's supposed to be a grassroots organization. We're supposed to engage our voters, bring people into the party, get the word out about our candidates.
And so do you do any, do you have meetings? Do you do training or...
We do monthly meetings. We have a meeting on the second Monday of every month, and we have a breakfast on the fourth Saturday of every month. Last summer, we did a grassroots workshop that was open to all the units in the 2nd District, and we want to build on that. We worked with Frank Driscoll out of Chesapeake and Bruce Meyer, and we held a workshop on a Saturday at the Westin, and we want to do more of that. We want to bring in the neighboring units.
Well, and you got to bring more people in. Like when I go occasionally, and I don't go a lot because it's at night and I get tired. I got to get up early. Couple with the fact it's BORING. But when I go to my city committee meeting in Chesapeake, I mean, it's Snoozeville City. I mean, I don't know what Pete's got an agenda in there, but I really got to take a shot of espresso at Starbucks before I get there. And then the average age, I'm 58 and I'm like the baby in the room. I mean, average age 90. What are you going to do to get new, younger people involved?
Well, RPV has got a couple of folks down here on the ground working, and they're registering a lot of voters. They're working hard at all the colleges. So they're engaging a lot of the young people, and I'm working with them, trying to get them to plug them into the party so that we've got a good mix of all age groups.
Now, what about young Republicans, right? That's how I started, right? As a young Republican, I was in high school, then college, then that's how I got involved. In my Jersey, I got involved as a YR. If you were the chairman of Virginia Beach, what would you do to inspire young people to actually show up, get involved, be at meetings?
We got to give them a voice.
And take their input.
We got to give them a voice, give them a seat at the table. Give them some responsibilities, give them a job to do. One of the things that I was considering with, we have our breakfast on Saturday mornings, and the chairman typically is the one who leads that breakfast. But maybe having different groups come in and, okay, this Saturday, this is your breakfast. You bring in your group, you do this program, you bring in this speaker. I know there's a lot of interest in going back to having breakfast more frequently than the one Saturday. And I think if we can bring in different people to kind of host that breakfast, it'll bring in different groups. So that's one of the things I've thought about doing. How
do you penetrate high schools? How do you, get the word out to start Young Republicans chapters in Virginia Beach and in various high schools and at Tidewater Community College and things like that? How do you do the kind of outreach? If you were the chairman, tell me what would be your plan for youth outreach, other than having them speak at a breakfast?
Well, we have, like I said, we have those resources that RPV sent down, and they're in their early 20s, and they're the ones going out to the colleges. So we need people that are close to their age that have similar interests to go out there and meet with these people and explain to them what the Republican Party is all about. A lot of people don't realize that there's a city committee that they can come and participate in. So there's a lot of advertising that we need to do. We need to get the word out about RPVB, but we need to get young people that are part of our party to go out and engage people. Because, me going out there, I'm an old person. It's not going to, interest somebody from college because they're not going to think that, we have anything in common.
You don't look very old, though. So you could probably go into the high school and, pass, right? Unlike me. Let's bottom line this, Tina. What is the differentiators between yourself and Atkinson?
I think what sets me above is my 16 years of leadership experience. I worked very hard for the promotions that I received in the sheriff's office. I have my education background, a master's in public administration. I graduated from UVA's National Criminal Justice Command College, so a lot of that is involving leadership. And the fact that I've spent a lot of time doing grassroots with Senator Bill D. Stuff campaign and with RPVB.
So what would be your objective as far as the school board is concerned and city council? I mean, because you control now, Virginia Beach has become very Republican. You control virtually every state seat. How would you go about winning back some of the school board seats and city council seats that Republican back candidates lost?
Well, again, RPVB doesn't get involved in nonpartisan elections, but we do have a number of our members who are on council.
Wait, now you do hand out a sample ballot, though, right? You at the polls, you hand out a ballot that says vote for these people, right?
2 years ago, we handed out a separate piece of literature. It wasn't a sample ballot. It was, these are the folks that
right.
Congressman Scott Ridgell are endorsing for the nonpartisan seats. It wasn't an RPVB piece of literature.
So, like in Chesapeake is a Republican-controlled city. So what they do, you go to vote that day, and they have somebody handing you out a ballot that says these are the Republican-backed candidates, backed by the Republican Party of Chesapeake. And there's, 1, 2, 3, or 4 names, and they always win because there's more Republicans than Democrats. So they see the ballot, they vote for those, they win. Why wouldn't you do the same thing in Virginia Beach when you're basically trolled when Republicans have a majority there?
Well, I'm not saying that we wouldn't do that, but as RPVB, we don't do a sample ballot. We had 2nd District last time do that separate piece of literature that had the candidates that were endorsed by Congressman Scott Ridgell. I think it's important for our voters to know who the Republicans are, because a lot of times they vote a straight ticket, so they want to know who are the Republican-leaning candidates in those nonpartisan offices, and that's very important to those candidates as well. We've talked to them a number of times on ways to not endorse them, but make sure that everybody knows that they're Republicans, a member of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. So that's something that we need to work on doing a better job of.
So your congressman, I'm not in the 2nd district, so he's not my congressman. So your congressman who lives in Virginia Beach, Scott Ridgell, who's retiring, sent a letter out the night before the Super Tuesday primary in Virginia, and he said that if Donald Trump's the nominee, I'm not going to vote for Trump, period. I'm not voting for the Republican nominee for president under any circumstances. I will go to a third party. I will write somebody's name in. I'll campaign for somebody else. I will not vote for Trump. So if Trump's the nominee, and I think he's going to be, and Scott Ridgell continues with that, and you're the Republican chairman of Virginia Beach, then wouldn't it be incumbent upon you, Tina, to kick Ridgell out of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach? Because does it not say in your bylaws that if you don't support the Republican candidate, you're out? So would you kick him out?
It says in the state party plan, if they don't back the Republican candidate, then they void their membership. And I have to wait and see who the nominee is going to be and see what happens at that point. I wish that people wouldn't stay away from the polls if their nominee is not, their choice is not the nominee, because I think that's going to take away voters from the congressional races. So I think that we should, make sure that people do get out and vote.
So, again, if Trump is 2016 Republican presidential nominee and Ridgell continues to not back the Republican nominee and says he'll vote for someone else, and you're chairman, are you going to kick him out?
I don't think it's a matter of kicking him out. I think his membership is voided at that point, but that's something that we're going to have to consider when that nominee comes out.
You would go by the rules.
I would go by the party plan.
And if his membership had to be voided, then you would stand behind that.
Yes, but then he can also be voted back in.
By who?
The membership.
Oh, he can get voted back in. But then would you not have to change the bylaws?
No, I think that's how the bylaws read, actually, that they can be voted back in.
All right. So then it will be up to the members. But what you're saying is you as chairman, you would follow the rules, and his membership would be null and void.
That's the rules.
I like that answer. Thank you for being honest.
And he's aware of the rules.
Thank you for your candor. Honesty is the best policy. It's refreshing to finally get somebody to come on my show and actually answer a question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. So big vote on Saturday. I've only got about a minute. Give our audience, why should people turn out on a Saturday for 2 hours in Virginia Beach to make Tina Mapes the chairman?
Well, all politics is local. So, everything that we do on the local level impacts our community. And I think it's going to make a difference in the future of our Republican Party and our future candidates for folks to get involved in the mass meeting and the race for chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach, because that's going to impact the next couple of years.
Well, I tell you what, you can't get any more local and grassroots than going to a mass meeting. And if you're in Virginia Beach, get involved. You can make your mind up once you're there if you're undecided. But go to the mass meeting on Saturday, April 9th. Got to be there by 11:45. Doors close. Corporate Landing Middle School. 2 candidates running. Tina Mapes, endorsed by Bill D. Steff, and Clay Atkinson. He's endorsed by Curtis Colgate and others. And may the best person win. And Tina says on our show, if Scott Ridgell doesn't vote for Trump, he's kicked out of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. Good riddance. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network.